The Tanana Chiefs Conference Tribal TANF program is called the Athabascan Self-Sufficiency Assistance Program, and it focuses on providing services in Alaska's interior to 37 federally recognized tribes spread out over 250,000 square miles. It's one of the largest tribal TANF service areas. There's roughly about 10,000 tribal members living in these very isolated rural communities that are not road connected and have limited infrastructure. There's limited jobs. The economy is primarily a subsistence hunting and fishing economy. And so the challenges that we face in our TANF program are quite unique in many ways. We have a central office staff of about 10 people that are located in Alaska's second largest urban area, serving Native families in Fairbanks. And we have village-based tribal members who serve as the tribal workforce development specialists in each one of the 38 communities in the total service area. Our primary staff consists of a program director, eligibility specialist, case management, pretty standard staff to operate assistance programming, but perhaps the most important element of our program is the inclusion of a full-time information specialist who provides us with the guidance as well as the information from the data that we glean from our program.
Well, one of the things that's important at Tanana Chiefs is that we speak in a common language, and that's one thing that we've learned and we try and do is data is characteristics that describe anything. It in and of itself is not very useful. A birthday is a piece of data, a social security number, a middle initial. That's data. But once you take the data and collapse it and massage it, you can turn it into information. You can group people into ages. The easiest way of convening information is turning a birth date into an age. That's turning data into information. You can also figure out how many people in your caseload have R in their first name. That's all examples of information. But the next step is useful information. I gave you one example of how many people have an R in their first name. Data people can provide you that information, but it's not really useful unless you are an R advocate. Useful information is information that helps program managers and other people make decisions that can improve or change the program for the better. At the point in time the logic model was created, and during the logic model creation, it allowed us to establish ways to measure the things that they did and what they did and how they did it. And by measuring the data that is in the logic model, we then could go back and convert the data into useful information that allows him to evaluate the program, the logic model, and make changes to it and help it grow over time.
I think the dedication of full-time staff for the program is a commitment for evidence-based programming on the behalf of the Tanana Chiefs Conference. We found that in order to be truly evidence-based and responsive to the collection of valid and reliable data, that we couldn't just rely on our IS and IT department or our help desk, but we really needed someone who could work as an ongoing active member of our team. And that team includes our program directors, our online staff, and includes them from the bottom up on the decisions as far as what data to collect, how to collect it, and to provide us with the interpretation of that data into information that we can then convey to policymakers and to the consumers at large and for program planning.
A lot of times as a data person, we think differently. We're very structured, and it's easy to forget about what they need. But by being a client development or TANF representative to IS rather than an IS representative to TANF, I'm able to understand that they're my ultimate client. As more and more federal agencies, grantees require more and more data for more and more getting funds, for providing results and output, the poor people who are wearing both hats are going to be overwhelmed. And to be able to allow them to focus on the program end, to be able to not be so overwhelmed with the data end, it's very important that they're able to delegate it off to a person who thinks the way of data, to the good and the bad at times.
This podcast was brought to you on behalf of the Welfare Peer Technical Assistance Network, the Office of Family Assistance, the Administration for Children and Families, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.